Hello, my name is Izhar. I'm the main developer of this framework called Morp framework. So about a few weeks ago, we just released the Alpha 5 version of our control center component, and this video is meant to demonstrate the capability that what it can do. Right, so for those who are unaware, Morp framework is basically a highly pluggable Python framework built on top of Morpa. It inherits quite a lot of ideas from the Zope ecosystem and Plone ecosystem, and so the goal is to build a framework that is um, easy to extend and improve reusability of component, right? So the Morp framework ecosystem consists of the Morp framework core, which focus mainly in the REST API layer of things. So it provide resource types API, such which include create, read, update, delete endpoints, a pluggable storage engine of which your resource type can make use of different storages, such as SQL Alchemy, Elasticsearch, or even you can build your own custom storage. It also include authentication and authorization engine built in. And for those who regularly build distributed application, Morp framework also powered by Celery provide a number of syntax sugar to make background workers and scheduled job development easier. And uh, while the control center component of Morp framework, it provides a bunch of CRUD GUI, admin control center, through the web content resource types, and then a bunch of other things which basically act somewhat like a meta CMS. So a meta CMS that is not quite there as a CMS, but have all the core feature of a CMS. Okay. uh so when you are developing for Morp framework, when you're trying to start a project with using the framework, we recommend you to make use of Morp templates which provide number of scaffolding for your project. Okay. Right, so let's go to the demo. Okay, when you want to install Morp framework or you want to start a project using Morp framework, the first thing you need to do is to install MW template, right? So to do that, okay, in this demo, let's create a virtual env. Oh, this one. Okay, so to create a virtual env, you can run this command. Then to install MW template, you can then run this command. I always make sure that you install the latest version because we're still regularly doing bug fixes against the tool and keep on doing enhancement with against the tool. Okay, so now once you have MFW template installed, you can then make use of it to initialize your project. So inside MFW template, we have create project, create resource, and a number of other commands. But for this demo, we just focus on create project and create resource. Right, so create project will scaffold you VS Code compatible and build out based directory where your project will reside in, and then create resource is meant to create resource type. Okay, so let's create a new project. In this case, let's call it test app. Okay, oh, create project. Okay, let's call it test app, and I want to demonstrate MorpCC Alpha 5, so I will make use of I'll type MorpCC here. Okay, license, let's make it HTML. Okay, now once you've did that, there will be a folder called test app created. So this folder, you can load it up using your Visual Studio Code, and it provides a number of convenient function in the form of VS Code task where you can make use of that to initialize your project. Okay, let's launch VS Code. Okay, and load the folder. Right. Okay, so once you are inside there, you can then run a task. You can then run a task to build this project. So run task, build project. This will run build out. Okay, and then you will need to make sure that you configure your VS Code to make use of this virtual env as the virtual env as your workplace folder. Just click yes here, and then we are going to reload. Okay, once you've done that, you can then open this file. So you can install multi-language server so that VS Code can do things correctly. Okay, so once you have your project initialized, you can take a look at settings.yaml. This is where the database configuration would be. Okay, so Morp framework requires 3 main database, which is your test a database with the name of your application, a database for the warehouse, and a cache database, of which is being used for Beaker caching. But of course, you can make use of other data store for Beaker, right? So you will need to make sure that your PostgreSQL, your local PostgreSQL have these databases. So in my case, I already have the databases is available in my local Postgres. So I'm just going to task generate migrations. So this generate migrations task will run Alembic to generate SQL Alchemy migration for database initialization and database upgrades. Okay, so once you've done generate migration, you can then update the database to apply the migrations. This migration you can then later commit as part of your project. Okay, once you've applied your migrations, you can then create an admin user. Okay, so after you did that, you can now press F5 inside your Visual Studio Code, and this will start up the debugging console and then also the main UI of the application. Right, so we created a user called admin just now, so let's just create this and just log in using the admin user. So this is the default view of your test application. Okay, so you can see this comes with a number of what do you call it, a skeleton UI, which will help you to get started with your application development project. Right, so that is how you initialize the control center. Okay, and you can see here there is number of features is already built in inside the framework, such as settings manager. So inside here we have LDAP integration already there. We also have a way for you to manage your users. So user management is there, group management, API key management, permission management, which also includes object level permissions. Okay, this manage schema, manage reference data, manage attribute validator, entity validator, data dictionary, and manage application. Here, these are through the web resource type builder, which you can use for quick prototyping without having to code. And for indexes, this is for global site search, which still under heavy development. While background processes module here lists down background process that you run using Celery. Okay, audit log at the moment is a very basic audit logging on activities that happen on the platform, on your particular installation. Okay, so once you get the control center installed, you can then start to create your own resource types which you can make use for your project. So let's take for example, you want to build a simple timesheet. So inside the build out, you will see that there is MFW template available there. So you can run this command and with create resource parameter, which here you need to provide your resource type name. So let's call it timesheet. Okay, so just accept the defaults. Okay, once you've done that, inside your project, let's refresh directory listing. Inside your project, you'll see that there is a new folder called timesheets. So here, there is number of files that have been generated for this timesheet resource type. Okay, so the first thing you will need to look in would be the schema for your timesheet. So by default, there will be 2 columns provided in the resource type. So but for the purpose of timesheet, I'll probably going to rename this fields. Okay, so let's just rename it to activity. And I will probably want to link this up to the user available inside the system. So let's call it user UID. Okay, so the framework provides application level foreign key or reference or content type referencing through reference widget and reference validator. So here we can refer to other resource type and link it up, and you make sure that the right widget are used for these fields. Okay, so let's make use of reference type sheet and then widget. Okay, I'm going to link this to user name. Okay, and then we need to make sure that this field is validated. Okay, let's save this. Okay, so so a timesheet is probably gonna need also time, the length of the timesheet. So we have use it. Let's call it hours. Okay, so once you've defined your resource type schema, you can then make use of the generate migration task to generate the update. So add resource type schema. Alright. So once you've done that, you need to then run task update database. Okay, so we can then stop your application and restart it for the changes to be applied. Once you've done that, you should see there's a collection called timesheet there. It's created, and you can now start to create entry with it. So in this case, we only have admin user. We can link it to admin, and ours you can just say get up there. Okay. So now you see here we have a create view, uh, read view, okay, and then an edit view to edit record, and a delete view. Okay, now take note here, Morp framework have time zone awareness, so all the record that is created is time zone aware, and as a use and specific user can set their own time zone, then the application will make sure that the right time zone is used to display for the user. So they just change this to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, submit. Okay, so now the date here is corrected against the time zone. Right, let's do some more advanced capability, advanced feature. So let's say you want to link your project to your timesheet to a project. So to do that you want to create a resource type called project. Okay, so we create a new project, and in this resource type project, you may want to okay, that is okay. So in this case, we're just going to keep title and description as the default fields, right? Then let's run and generate migration. Let's update database. Okay, so resource type can be linked. So a timesheet here, we want to link it up to project. We can then simply add another field, string field, UID. So ideally you should just name this as UID. Okay, and let's link it up to widget, reference widget, link it up to project name dot resource type name. Okay, and term title just keep it default, review field let's keep it default, validators okay. All right, so let's generate the database migration for this. And apply. Okay, once you did that, you can then see in your application that you have a project time data type or resource type, and you have timesheet resource type, of which inside the timesheet you can link it up to a project name. But in this case we don't have any project, so let's just take let's create a new project here. Let's say demo project. Okay, so in your timesheet now we can link it up to demo project. Okay, now we also provide some convenient function for generating UI for referencing. So in this case, we have a reference to project. We can create references there. Oh wait, the name should be the column name. and then there's a resource type. Okay, and you can also create back referencing. Let's say a project have many timesheet, so we'll do a back references. To test app.timesheet, and the name should be timesheets. Okay, so let's just restart the app. Nope. Oh, sorry, forgot. You need to also link it that to the reference name, which is in this case project ID. Okay, start. Okay, so now when you load up your timesheet, so in this example, we can now see that this timesheet is linked to a project called demo project, and when we open the project and view the record, there is a reverse link to all timesheets that this project have. Okay, so let's say you want to do a simple data validation. So for data validation, we can make use of this validators metadata, where it accept a list of validation. So let's just example, you want to make sure that the hours that is key in is more than 4 hours, for example. So you can then define a new validate hours. It should be, wait, I forgot the API. Let's just create a new one. Create resource. No, not resource. Create field validator. Okay. So validate hours. So you can now see there's a folder called field validator there, and validate hours. Just going to check whether the value is value less than 0, return. If the value is less than 4 hours, return an error message. Let's say hours must be more than 4. Okay, so now inside your schema, you can then import the validator. Validator. Validate as validate hours. Okay, so now you can pass your validator function here. Right, so if we start the application, okay, and we go back to the timesheet and try to key in a timesheet with hours less than 4, it will fail. Okay, let's see a timesheet, and let's add a new record. Hours is maybe 1. Admin demo project. Okay, so if you do it, it's 5. Submit down. Okay, now beside field validator, we also have form validator, but I'm probably not going to cover that now. You can always read the documentation for that, or come and ask us in the Discord channel. Uh, we'll probably update the documentation later for that. Right, I think that will be the basic introduction of the framework. We have a lot more feature on this framework which is not yet documented, and we are looking for contributor to help us out in improving this framework. But hope if you are interested, we can always come and meet us in our Discord channel. Link in our documentation here. Okay, so oh wait, that's an old documentation. Yeah, I think it should be there. Yeah, so you can come over to our Discord server, documented in his link in this MorpCC documentation. Right, that's it for now. Thank you.